Thank you for the opportunity and attention that has been given to me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Intan Jamdin, and here I'm as the moderator of Group A, who will present about exploring the situation of English in the EFL Japan. Here we have 5 speakers with their respective materials. Namely, the first speaker is Reva, who will discuss about student, and the second speaker is Putri, who will discuss about teacher, and third speaker is myself, and I will discuss about resources, including English textbook, and the last is Prina and Siva, who will discuss about the curriculum. To shorten the time, for the speaker, I invite.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Reva Bunga Marcelina, and I'm as a first speaker. First, I wanna explain about the situation of English as a foreign language, or EFL in Japan, and my Abad student. Aspect with a positive development and significant challenge. First point, I wanna explain about the positive aspect. Jadi, untuk poin pertama, saya akan menjelaskan beberapa poin positif pertumbuhan bahasa Inggris di Jepang. Dimulai dari increased awareness and demand. Many Japanese people, especially the younger generation, are becoming increasingly aware of the important English. Jadi, banyak orang di Jepang, terutama untuk generasi muda mereka sudah semakin menyadari betapa pentingnya bahasa Inggris, terutama untuk travel, bisnis, dan pertukaran budaya. And next, government initiative. The Japanese government has long policies to enhance English education. Pemerintah Jepang telah meluncurkan kebijakan untuk meningkatkan pendidikan bahasa Inggris, termasuk pengenalan pembelajaran bahasa Inggris sejak awal masuk sekolah. And internasionalisasi pendidikan. Many universities offer program in English, attracting international students and encouraging local students to improve their English skill. Di Jepang, banyak universitas yang menawarkan program dalam bahasa Inggris. Hal ini untuk menarik mahasiswa internasional dan mendorong mahasiswa lokal untuk meningkatkan keterampilan berbahasa Inggris mereka. Selain poin-poin positif, ada juga beberapa tantangan dalam pembelajaran bahasa Inggris di Jepang. First, focus on grammar. Traditional teaching method emphasizes grammar over practical communication skill. Metode pembelajaran bahasa Inggris di Jepang masih tradisional. Mereka lebih menekankan grammar dan penghafalan daripada keterampilan komunikasi. Hal ini membuat siswa kesulitan berbicara bahasa Inggris. And limited speaking opportunities. Siswa memiliki kesempatan berbicara yang terbatas dan jarang berlatih berbicara. Hal ini dapat mengurangi kepercayaan diri mereka untuk berbicara. And teacher skill. Many teachers are proficient in grammar, but mereka kurang terlatih dalam mengajarkan bahasa Inggris secara komunikatif. And solution to other challenge. Ada juga solusi untuk mengatasi tantangan. Curriculum reform. Shift the focus from memorization to communication skill with the more speaking and listening activities. Reformasi kurikulum untuk mengalihkan fokus dari penghafalan ke keterampilan komunikasi dengan lebih banyak aktivitas berbicara dan mendengarkan dalam bahasa Inggris. And teacher training. Enhance professional training for teacher to be more active in teaching English. Meningkatkan pelatihan profesional untuk guru, agar guru lebih efektif dalam mengajarkan bahasa Inggris. And create more opportunities for interaction with native speakers. Menciptakan lebih banyak kesempatan untuk berinteraksi dengan penutur asli, untuk meningkatkan paparan bahasa Inggris pada siswa. Level assessment of Japanese student in English. Ada juga beberapa level siswa Jepang dalam bahasa Inggris. The majority of Japanese students tend to be in the lower intermediate to intermediate range. Dengan lebih sedikit yang mencapai tingkat menengah atau tingkat lanjut, ini mencerminkan tentang tantangan yang dihadapi dalam komunikasi praktis dan kelancaran berbahasa Inggris di Jepang. Oke, sekian dari saya. Saya lanjutkan kepada next speaker.
Thank you for the first speaker, and we will next to the second speaker is Putri. I invite.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Here I am as the second speaker and I will explain about the teachers. And the material of teachers is include native versus non-native teachers English in Japan, and then the teacher salary, and then the teacher problems in Japan, city versus village, and then we look at the level education, and then the last one is excellence and challenge in English teaching in Japan. So first of all is native speaker versus non-native speaker. The native speaker itu lebih diutamakan karena mereka punya pronunciation dan speaking yang lebih natural. But sometimes mereka tuh kurang paham tentang metode pengajarannya. Nah, meanwhile non-native speaker itu mereka actually lebih mengerti grammar teaching and methods, tapi sayangnya mereka sering kena diskriminasi dan gajinya lebih rendah. The next is about the teacher salary. Itu native speaker di sekolah negeri atau Z program itu bisa dapat sekitar 3,3 sampai 3,9 juta yen per tahun. Kemudian di Ekewa itu ada sekolah kursus bahasa, mereka gajinya sekitar 250.000 sampai 300 yen per bulan. Nah, kalau di universitas atau di sekolah internasional bisa sampai 400 atau 600 yen per bulan. Sedangkan untuk non-native speaker sendiri itu mereka dibayar lebih rendah, sekitar di bawah 250 yen per bulan. Nah, even they still have a TOEFL or CALTA certificate. Kenapa sih mereka tuh dibayar rendah? Karena banyak sekolah lebih mikirin native action daripada skill mengajar. Padahal non-native speaker ini lebih condong atau lebih paham tentang grammar dan teaching methods. But they still get paid less and face discrimination in job opportunities. For your information, buat yang belum tahu apa sih JET program itu, nah JET program itu adalah program dari pemerintah Jepang yang mengajak foreign atau orang asing untuk jadi asisten language teacher atau ELT di sekolah, dan kemudian juga menjadi koordinator for international relation di kantor pemerintah, atau Sport Exchange Advisor SEA di bidang olahraga. And now we move to the next, yaitu about teacher problems in city versus village and then educational level. Nah, in the big city atau di kota besar itu workload-nya tinggi dan sekolahnya kompetitif, terus native speaker itu sangat dibutuhkan di kota besar. Sedangkan di desa atau di village itu fasilitasnya sangat minim, kemudian guru asingnya sulit beradaptasi. Nah, kalau kita lihat dari berdasarkan jenjang atau level of education-nya, itu SD itu atau primary itu mereka lebih fokus mengajarnya pada listening dan speaking. Sedangkan di SMP sampai SMA atau secondary itu mereka fokusnya pengajarannya itu fokus ke grammar and text tertulis. Dan yang terakhir itu universitas atau tertiary itu lebih fokus ke akademik dan profesional. Next, I will add some information about the curriculum implementation. Curriculum implementation ini in Japan itu sudah dikenalkan di sekolah in 2008 with an initial focus on communication skills, walaupun banyak schools that still menekankan grammar and written exam rather than speaking skill. The next is excellence and challenge in teaching in Japan. So the first, itu ada beberapa keunggulan dalam English teaching in Japan. The first one is mereka punya JET program, yang mana itu program ini mengajak native speaker teachers buat ngajar di sekolah-sekolah Jepang. Terus sistem pendidikan di sana really focus on discipline and work ethic. Plus kalau bonusnya di kota besar itu sekolah-sekolahnya punya good infrastructure and research. Tapi of course di samping keunggulan mereka juga punya challenging tersendiri atau masalah-masalah. Nah, masalah utama yang mereka hadapi yaitu pembelajaran masih terlalu fokus ke grammar and exams, bukan komunikasi atau speaking. Nah, native speaker ini sering struggle tuh karena budaya kerja Jepang sangat formal dan hierarki. Meanwhile, non-native speaker itu sering kena diskriminasi di gaji dan peluang kerja. Nah, jadi bisa disimpulkan bahwa kelebihan dari English teaching di Jepang ini, mereka punya program JET, kemudian disiplin sekolah mereka tinggi, dan sekolah mereka punya good infrastructure. Tapi tantangan mereka yaitu mereka masih terlalu fokus ke grammar, and non-native speaker itu susah untuk beradaptasi dan sering kena diskriminasi.
Thank you for second speaker, and we will next to the third speaker is myself, and I will explain about the English textbook. Guys, now I would like to explain about resources, and it covers English textbook, and we will discuss about free culture and how to overcome and solution. So, free culture, there are 5 points that is definition, characteristic, conflicting values, commercialization of culture, and influence of foreign culture. And how to overcome and solution, there are 4 points. That is dialogue and tolerance, education and awareness, support for local culture, and strengthening national identity. So we will discuss one by one. And for free culture, we will discuss for the definition first. So for definition of free culture refers to a cultural environment in which individuals and groups have the freedom to express themselves, create work, art, and participate in cultural activities without strict authority from authorities or rigid social norms. Next, for the characteristic. Encourages creativity and innovation, provides space for individual and group expressions. Support cultural diversity, facilitates the exchange of ideas and information. Next, conflicting values. Freedom of expression can give rise to conflicts between different cultural values, especially in diverse societies. Cultural expressions that are considered offensive or inappropriate by certain groups can trigger social tension. Next, for commercialization of culture. A free culture can be exploited for commercial purposes, which can lead to cultural homogenization and loss of local cultural identity. Next, influence of foreign culture. In the era of globalization, foreign cultures can easily enter and influence the local culture, sometimes causing erosions of traditional values. And then, how to overcome and solution? For the first is dialogue and tolerance. Encourage intellectual dialogue and foster tolerance for difference in cultural values. Building a better understanding of other culture can help reduce conflict and tension. Next, education and awareness. Increase public awareness of the importance of respecting cultural difference and avoid hatred. Cultural education can help build a better understanding of different cultural values. And then, support for local culture. Provide support to local artists and cultural actors to maintain traditional culture. Promote local culture, product, and work of art to increase public awareness and appreciation. And for the last is strengthening national identity. Strengthening national identity can be a substrate for filtering incoming foreign cultures so that foreign culture can be adapted well. So I think that's all from me. Thanks for your attention. More or less I apologize. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And back to moderator. Okay guys, so we will next to the last speaker is Prina and Siva about curriculum. For the speaker, I invite.
Hello, I'm Nusrata Judan Ahya. So here I want to present my material, Implementation Curriculum in Japan. Implementation of the English Language Teaching or ELT curriculum in Japan faces several challenges including 1. Teacher competency and training. Many English teachers in Japan, particularly in public schools, have limited proficiency in spoken English. While they may have strong grammatical knowledge, their communicative skills can be lacking. Additionally, teachers often rely on traditional teaching methods rather than communicative approach. And 2. Exam-oriented education system. So Japan's education system heavily emphasizes standardized testing such as university entrance exams, which focus more on reading and grammar than speaking and listening. This discourages communicative language teaching or CLT and interactive learning. And 3. Curriculum rigidness and implementation gap. Despite government efforts to promote communicative English skills, e.g. through reforms like MIEXT, English Education Reform Plan, many schools struggle to implement these changes effectively due to rigid curricula, outdated textbooks, and limited teacher support. And 5. Cultural and social barriers. Japanese students often feel reluctant to speak English due to fear of making mistakes or standing out. The cultural emphasis on perfection and indirect communication discourage active language use in classroom. And 5. Limited exposure to English. Outside of the classroom, students have minimal opportunities to use English in real-life situations. Unlike countries where English is commonly spoken in daily life, Japan offers fewer immersive environments, making it harder for students to develop fluency. And 6. large class, and limited classroom time. Public school classrooms are often crowded, making it difficult for teachers to provide individualized attention and interactive speaking practice. Additionally, the time allocated for English classes may not be sufficient to build a strong communication skill. And 7. Resistance to change. Many schools and teachers are accustomed to traditional methods and may resist adopting more communicative and student-centered approach. Implementing new teaching methodologies requires training, resources, and institutional support which are not always available.
Hi, introduce myself. My name is Prina Bulan Adaludoto. Here I am as the host of the last material. Will explain a little about the curriculum in Japan. So, the Japan's curriculum aims to broaden individuals who are not only academical and intelligent but also have a strong character, a hard work ethic, and a sense of responsibility toward society. Even kurikulum ini mencakup standar nasional yang mengatur tujuan, isi, dan metode pelajaran di sekolah-sekolah Jepang, mulai pendidikan dasar hingga menengah. Dan di sini saya juga akan menjelaskan sedikit tentang perubahan kurikulum di Jepang di sepanjang sejarah. Yang pertama yaitu pada masa pra-perang before 1945, kurikulum Jepang sebelum Perang Dunia II. Kurikulum di Jepang itu sangat terstruktur dan berfokus pada nilai-nilai tradisional Jepang seperti loyalitas kepada kaisar dan negara. Dan yang kedua, pada masa pasca perang di antara 1950-an, setelah kekalahan Jepang dalam Perang Dunia II, kurikulum Jepang mengalami perubahan besar. Amerika Serikat memainkan peran penting dalam merancang kurikulum baru yang lebih demokratis dan berorientasi pada hak asasi manusia. Dan berkelanjutan di masa ekonomi tinggi pada 60-an sampai 1980-an. Pada masa ini, kurikulum Jepang berfokus pada pengembangan keterampilan teknis dan ilmiah untuk mendukung pertumbuhan ekonomi Jepang yang pesat. Dan yang terakhir, pada masa reformasi 90-an sampai sekarang, kurikulum Jepang saat ini berfokus pada pengembangan keterampilan pada abad ke-21 seperti kreativitas, inovasi, dan kemampuan berkomunikasi yang efektif. Dan tahun yang paling signifikan itu pada tahun 1945 dalam sejarah kurikulum Jepang. Pada tahun ini, Jepang kalah dalam Perang Dunia II dan Amerika Serikat memainkan peran penting dalam merancang kurikulum baru yang lebih demokratif dan berorientasi pada hak asasi manusia.
Okay guys, with the end of the presentation, our discussion on exploring the situation of English in the EFL Japan has ended. So, the conclusion is that although English is considered important in Japan, the education system is trying to shift from exam-centered education to more communication-centered education. Hopefully, our presentation can provide benefits and insight for all of us. That's all from us. Thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.